Alright guys, so today we are going to be doing CHING number 110. So let's get started. The first thing that I have was a set of Halloween lights. These are from 1996. These actually did go to a subscriber named Michelle. These sold for $29.99 and I did pick those up, I believe, at a yard sale. Next item that I sold was a Norman Brum enamel copper plate. This one had mushrooms on it. That sold for $44.99. So if you guys have been following my latest auction hauls and stuff like that, you know that we have been picking up a lot of Norman Brum pieces. So this one was of a plate. Next we have a Care Bears light switch plate. This was from 2004, so not like 80s vintage, but from 2004. It was still in its original packaging. That sold for $29.99, and I actually purchased that at a flea market for $1. I also sold another Norman Brum plate. This one had lady slipper flowers on it, and that one sold for $39.99. I sold a set of roller skate wheels. These were just the wheels. They were by a company called Adam Pulse. They were clear with glitter, and those sold for $59.99, and I did get those at a yard sale. I had purchased a pair of roller skates and they just threw in the wheels for free basically, and I think I paid like $5 for the roller skates. Next we have a Bambi. It looked like Bambi. It was a deer planter that sold for $19.99, and that probably came from a yard sale. I also sold a Yankee candle. This one was in the scent white linen and lace. That sold for $35.99, and that came from an auction. I had won a couple of these Yankee candles in that fragrance, and it's a pretty desirable fragrance. I mean, $35.99, and I don't remember exactly what I paid for them, but I know it wasn't much. And I sold quite a few. I think I do still have a couple left. Let's see. I also sold this really weird bird sculpture. This was by a company called X Heart. That sold for $25.99, and that actually came from a fill-a-bag. No, that was not a fill-a-bag rummage sale. I'm thinking of another one because I had two sculptures by this brand. These birds came from an auction because I remember Eric bidding on those. Let's see, I sold a Nintendo 64 expansion pack booster for $45.99, and that came from a yard sale. I also sold a vintage NASCAR Pepsi shirt that sold for $22.99, and I do believe that also came from a yard sale or a fill-a-bag rummage sale, one or the other. There's also another Norman Brum copper enamel plate. This one was for a slightly larger plate. This one was 5 inches, but it also had those lady slipper flowers on, and that one sold for $44.99. Next we have an Armani lipstick that sold for $29.99. I got that at a yard sale, and I think I paid $2 or $3 for it. I also sold, this one was a good one. I sold a vintage Clinique eyeliner. So this is one of those beauty items that is discontinued, and you know, when someone has a favorite item, it doesn't necessarily matter what it is. It could be a beauty related item, it could be clothing, I mean literally anything. But you know, when they discontinue something or stop making it and people still want to use it because it's their favorite, then that's when the cost goes up. So this Clinique eyeliner no longer made. It sold for $99.99, and I got that at a flea market, and I'm pretty sure I paid $1 for it, potentially less than that. So that was just insane. I also sold, this was a vintage from 1988 Captain Power magazine that sold for $17.99, and that actually came from an auction. I had won like a stack of just like vintage kids magazines. Like there were some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle magazines in there, and I don't know if I even listed those yet. But this was just for one Captain Power magazine. I had never heard of that one. I sold a vintage from 1988. This was literally just a piece of child's like play food, like the fake just play food of a corn on the cob. That sold for $12.99. That came from an auction. I had won a tray full of just vintage like play food items, and some of those can sell pretty decently. Let's see. I sold a Fenton cadmium hobnail shoe for $25.99. So this glowed under black light, really pretty. That came from a yard sale where I had purchased quite a few different Fenton pieces. So I say I paid $2-3 for that maximum. I also sold a Cindy Crawford day cream for $29.99, and some of the Cindy Crawford beauty stuff that I had picked up, some of it came from a yard sale and some of it came from a beauty tray that I had won at an auction. I also sold a redware trinket dish for $9.99. It was just a little guy. I swear I got this out of like a Curb Alert. Like I don't think I paid anything for it. So that's that. I missed Curb Alerts. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like during like COVID, people were doing that a lot. I have a couple of videos of where I was just going around like digging through people's stuff that they just were like throwing away, because people had time to, you know, like clean the house and everything like that. I typically see them more in the summertime, especially like after people have yard sales and things like that. Instead of taking it to the thrift store, they'll just throw it at the end of the driveway and wait for someone to come and pick it up and take it all away. But yeah, like if I can find any more of those, I'll totally do more of those types of videos. They're so fun. You just never know what you'll find. But typically, you know, if it's someone who was having a yard sale, I was already at their yard sale, so I already bought, you know, what I would have wanted to. Next we have a vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure of Monty Moose. This was brand new, still sealed. That sold for $174.99, and we did win that at an auction. I also sold a set of Jello Jigglers molds. So this was for a set of 4 plastic Jello Jigglers egg molds for $29.99. And then I also sold a set of 4 that were just different colored for the same price of $29.99. And I got the whole stack, I'm pretty sure, at a yard sale for like $1. People love these Jello Jiggler molds in like the Easter egg shapes. Every single set, especially if they're in a lot, I mean, every single set I've purchased has sold. So, I mean, there are people out there who are definitely looking for them. And it's one of those things where I think a lot of people just overlook at yard sales and rummage sales and stuff like that. You know, just like the plastic areas. People really aren't interested in like looking through like the plastic cups and tumblers and stuff like that, but that's typically, you know, where you find them at like rummage sales. I sold a resting Grinch face shirt for $16.99. I actually got this at Walmart on clearance after Christmas one year. I paid $1 for it. I sold a vintage set of 3 pairs of body image panties. These were still sealed. Those sold for $19.99, and I'm not sure where I got these originally. I feel like it might have been a thrift store. I can't remember, but there are people out there who specifically look for vintage underwear. I know it's really weird, but they are a hot seller. Just look it up. I rarely come across them though, that, you know, one's new with tag or sealed. A set of 2 Nintendo store display trays. So those sold, 2 of them for $59.98 total. Eric had won a bunch of these at an auction one day, and I think he was paying like an average of like $1 a piece. if I remember correctly. So people like those, especially like the guys that collect games or girls that collect games, who have like their game rooms and everything. They like those types of things to display their games and stuff on. So that was a cool find at the auction. I sold a set of 2 of these sprays. They were called Nerve Pain Away. These were brand new, still sealed. Those sold for $19.99, and those came on like a tray of some stuff I won at an auction. I sold a Goosebumps book for $6.99. This was just for one book. Typically, I like to sell Goosebumps books in like lots, large lots. Large lots are the ones that'll do the best, but this one was a double of one that I already had set aside for my lot, so I listed it separately and it's still sold. I sold a 1987, this was by a company called Beatland. It was a mini fridge, like a little mini refrigerator, and it had all of these little like desk accessories inside. It was the cutest thing. I found this at a yard sale. I probably paid $1 to $2 at the most. I sold for $29.99. I sold a Generation Girl doll. She was from 1999. She sold for $29.99. She came from a yard sale. I had purchased like a small like shoebox size tub full of Barbies for like $1. So she was from there. I like picking up Barbies and Barbie accessories. That's something I just enjoy selling. Next we have a L.E. Smith Moon and Stars cake stand that sold for $59.99. That probably came from an auction. I have good luck selling cake stands, like no matter the brand or anything. Like if I find a cake stand, it typically sells. I mean, I have a few still listed that haven't sold, but I mean, cake stands are really popular. And the L.E. Smith is definitely a good one to look for. I sold a 1985 Avon mushroom plush. This was so stinking cute. I actually just was hanging on to it for a while. I had it here in my beauty room, and you know, I was just hanging on to it, and I was like, I don't really need it anymore. I do keep a couple plushies. I am thinking of selling my cat back there. I've had him for a while. The mushroom sold for $14.99, and that probably came from a yard sale. I sold a 1983 Good Luck Care Bear for $15.99, and again, probably came from a yard sale. I also sold another Five Nights at Freddy's plushie. This one was a Fazbear that sold for $29.99, and that did come from the auction where I purchased all of the Five Nights at Freddy's plushies. I sold a vintage double mirrored compact for $19.99. And this next item was for a lot of 2 pruning shears by a company called Green Thumb. Those sold for $77.98, and Eric won those at an auction. I don't even think at first we were really interested, like we didn't even look them up, and then Eric looked them up and he was like, holy crap, I should probably be buying these. So he bid on those and won them. I sold a Monet trinket box. This one was of some chocolates that sold for $90. Some Monet trinket boxes can sell for a lot of money. It just depends on like the subject matter, but there are a lot of people who collect Monet trinket boxes. I sold this was by Menno. This was a folk art piece. From 1993, this one was of a blue jay. It was a painted wooden folk art piece that sold for $64.99. That came from one of the folk art auctions, probably I think the first one that we had ever gone to. And we actually won a couple more of these Menno pieces that you'll see in like one of my next hauls. I sold a vintage Disney Mickey Mouse patch for $9.99. That came from an auction. It was on a tray of some other Disney related stuff that I had won. I sold a pair of J. Renee snakeskin pumps. Those sold for $25.99, and those came from a yard sale. I'd say I paid $1 for them. Next was a pumpkin figure by a company called Delton. That sold for $39.99, and that came from the ladies' sale where I had purchased a bunch of like Halloween ornaments and things of that nature. I sold a vintage Juicy Couture velour wristlet for $19.99. I feel like this either came from a yard sale or a fill-a-bag rummage sale. Some vintage Juicy Couture pieces can sell well. Next was a pair of Torrid studded flip-flops that sold for $17.99, and I'm pretty sure those came from a yard sale as well. The next item was for a set of vintage Guerlain perfumes. I picked these up at a church sale. I think they were $1 or $2 at the most. Those sold for $63. Unfortunately, in shipment, one of them leaked slightly, so I did refund the buyer $24 back for the one perfume that leaked. It didn't like leak the whole way. There was still product in it to use, but I felt really bad about that, so I did give them $24 back. I sold one of the Mexican Alebrije folk art pieces. This was from the first folk art auction. This was of a rabbit that sold for $60. So that one was a larger one, and you know, it was with those pieces, a lot of it has to do with like the animal, the size, and the artist who painted it kind of thing as far as like the price range for them. Next was for a lot of two perfumes by a company called Clean. Those sold for $39.99, and I got those at a yard sale. I think I paid like 50 cents a piece for them. But again, these are older cha-chings, so you know, anytime I'm going to be showing perfumes until I get caught up, if any are used, these are older. So I just always want to make that clear until I get caught up with where I am in my cha-chings. Next we have a lot of 3 siesta wear mugs that sold for $14.99. Those probably came from a yard sale. I also sold a pair of vintage Chanel flats for $299.99, and those also came from a yard sale. I think I paid $20 for those. I might have paid $40 actually. I can't remember, but I know it wasn't a whole lot. I also sold a set of 1990s Avon. These were called the Shady Bunch. They were all these little fruits with like sunglasses on. They were so cute. They were magnets, and those sold for $19.99, and I got those at a yard sale, and I think I paid $1 for the lot of them. Here's another one of those Mexican Alebrije pieces. This one was for a pair of jackrabbits. These were large. Those sold for $180. So those ones were really cool. I love those. They were like my favorite ones. And then the last thing that I have for this cha-ching was for a pair of vintage hippie shorts. Like these were straight from the 60s. I won these at an auction. There was just a couple vintage clothing pieces there. I had never seen anything like them before. They didn't have any type of brand or anything like that, but so super cool. Those sold for $49.99, and like I said, they did come from an auction. So that's pretty much everything for this cha-ching. As far as eBay goes, I feel like things are going smoothly. I actually got a decent amount of stuff. Eric and I got a decent amount of stuff listed here recently, and a lot of like expensive stuff. So that's always fun, and I had a lot of really good high sales. I sold, if you watched all of my videos and you saw my last haul, I had those David Sabol mice and things like that. I sold all of those David Sabol pieces. The Scottish mouse, hold on, I'll tell you what it sold for. That really awesome larger Scottish mouse actually sold for $622. So that was a fantastic sale. Those are just amazing. I like selling items that, you know, have really high resale values, but I also like selling stuff that, you know, is on the cheaper side. It's nice to have a mix of stuff, because, you know, not all of your buyers are going to be collectors, you know what I mean? So it's nice, me personally, I think it's nice to have just a variety of items and a variety of price points and things like that, because even the cheaper stuff still adds up, and even some of the things that you would think would maybe be cheaper stuff end up being something that someone really, really wants. I literally sold a sheet of stickers just like a couple days ago for $111, I think it sold for. And it wasn't that long ago I sold a pack of stickers for like $100. So it's like, you would think stickers, like more of a cheap item, wouldn't be worth so much, but for a collector, you know, they're worth whatever they want to pay for it, collector. So it's just some of those instances where it's just like, it's surprising sometimes as to what people are interested in and what they're wanting. I had gotten a message on eBay. I have to respond to that. But yeah, as far as eBay goes, I think it's going pretty good. I'm excited for yard sale season to start back up. We've had some really nice days lately. So it's given me that itch of wanting to start going back to yard sales. I love auctions. Auctions can be a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of nerve-wracking in a way, because you definitely sometimes have to pay up for stuff, but then sometimes you get really, really, really good deals. So, you know, it's hit or miss though with anything, whether that's if you're going to a yard sale or you're going to an auction or you're going to a thrift store. There's no telling what you're going to find. There's no telling what you're going to pay, and there's no telling you know, what something's going to sell for sometimes. But the only other thing I kind of wanted to talk about, because I don't think I made a video since I did my whatnot, or no, I think I did have a haul, but it was just like straight up a haul, and I didn't really talk about how my whatnot went. So I'm just going to take the opportunity to talk about it now. The whatnot went really good in my opinion. I was, like I said, I was nervous about not knowing exactly what I was doing, like when it came time to like run something and things like that, but it was very easy. It came kind of naturally. I knew exactly what to do, even though I hadn't done it before. It was a little difficult for me to find some things, and I had some suggestions from people to like number my items next time, so it was easier for me to find the items people were interested in me running. So I'm gonna do that next time. Right now, I didn't sell everything or anything like that. It would have been nice had I sold everything just to get it out of my house, but I didn't sell everything. So currently all of my items, I think there's only one or two things that are left that haven't been delivered when I checked last. So once everything I know was delivered, everything, you know, got there okay, and I figure out how to do like the payout from whatnot, then I will schedule another show and do it again. I think next time I do one, I'm going to do what, you know, someone suggested about numbering my items. And I also kind of, my first show, it was kind of like a mixture of stuff. It wasn't cohesive, you know what I mean? It wasn't the same kind of thing. It was just this or that. So I think the next one I do might just be like a specific type of thing. I haven't decided yet, like maybe just glass. So I don't know. I'm still kind of thinking about, you know, what I'm going to do. I'm trying to figure out like what it is that people want to see, want to buy, and that type of thing. And all of that. So I don't know. I like having a variety of stuff just because you never know who's gonna pop in and, you know, what they're looking for. Like I had some people come in looking for very specific stuff. I think someone was looking obviously Pokemon. Everyone always looks for Pokemon, which I don't have any like Pokemon cards. I think I have a stuffed animal that I could take down from eBay that hasn't sold. And then just some random things, like when the guys come in, you know, they're looking for like more guy stuff and things like that. So I like having the variety, but you know, Eric told me like it just, like the things that I chose just didn't make sense like altogether. And for me, it wasn't really about making sense. It was about variety, because like I said, you just don't know like what someone's looking for, who's coming in. I thought I had something to offer for like everyone, like whether that was something Disney related or, you know, glass related or toy related or jewelry related. Like it was something for everyone. But so I don't know, it's got me thinking like maybe I should do a show that's just more cohesive of like the same type of stuff. So we'll see, but I do plan on having another one, and as soon as I get it scheduled and all of that good stuff, you guys will be the first to know. So if you missed it, you know, there will be another chance to come check one out at some point. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, and I will see you next time.